Hi everyone and welcome to Game Club, and today we'll be playing a German classic, Catan, the sort of game that basically will feature on most people's favourite list, and we've decided to give it a crack to see whether it will fit on our favourite list or, well, whether it won't. Anyway, join us as we play Catan. So I'm going to start with an unboxing. Catan or Settlers of Catan, or there's lots of different variations. We've already gone through one, which is Catan Junior this season, and that was really just as an entry point into the game. This one will be going in a little bit more depth, just because, well, it makes more sense to. I'm just trying to get the box lid off now. This is the original Catan, not the original box version. I know there's some people will be very pedantic about this is not the original version, this is just the new version you bought. Well, in fact, actually, we've been gifted this version, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So please, purists, chill yourself back, take a nice swig of some alcoholic beverage or something, and just get on with your lives. Anyway, so this is Catan. Box standard box, pretty much encapsulates what's going on. You've got your mountains, you've got your village, and you've got your fields. There's no murderous monster there, though. There's your rule book. To note that the rulebook here is pretty much, I believe, unchanged from the original rulebook, but they do have a very good guide online, which you have a little sort of QR code for. Just to note on the side of the box here, ages 10 plus, 60 minutes, and 3 to 4 players. So they suggested 3 and above players. Right, you've got your tiles here. You've got your location. These are your shipping tiles there. Building items here, yeah, different colours for different players. Dice, your special bonuses as well. Longest road, largest army, longest army, and building cost of things there. That's all should actually go in here, I believe. Just to note, yes, I did unbox it and put it all together nicely because I thought it would just be far more appropriate to do that than leave it as it is. You've got your tiles underneath there. You've got your players. Got your tokens there as well. There's all pretty much of a muchness. Obviously this is mass produced now, but before they used to have a little bit more sort of tender touchiness to it. The thing I would say is that obviously this version is the version that is currently available. So anyway, join us now as we will play and then review Catan. Right, so I've gone handheld here to explain Catan. The reason is very simple because I think that there are lots of videos that show you how to play Catan. It's probably not for me to then go and run through that again with you. And I think that some people who have commented recently in regard to the review videos and said, well, surely you should have a playthrough. I would say to them that if you've got a game like Catan and you haven't looked at the playthrough selection here, this QR code, which I've just leave there for a second so you can scan it, then really that suffices. That's sufficient enough to sort of successfully connect or sort of explain how you play the game. The same with Catan Junior, which was also had a really good video which you effectively clicked on, and it was so easy to access that I felt that it was kind of pointless of me doing another playthrough. I like to play through games that are, let's be honest, don't have the same traffic. But anyway, so Catan is very much a resource management game. It's about worker placement, that classic term, and I do think these sort of dull, empty terms that come across in certainly in game playing need to change. But hey, who am I to change it? I'm only a small nobody. But effectively, the game is a case of you roll, you then basically give them a terrain, which you can then collect the resource from and use it to monopolize, build buildings, roads, and gain victory points. The robber in the center going to effectively wipe you out or make you suffer, which is never good. The overview of the back of the booklet, if you've ever seen this, or even once again if you type in Catan and playthrough on YouTube, you will, or even if you go on a Google search or whatever browser you use, you'll be able to see this quite well laid out. And to be fair, the game itself is not overly difficult. I think it's a drawn out affair. It's the sort of game that when it was originally released, and I believe it was released in sort of '86, I think, you can really see that it would have had that value of being a new and very dynamic game, and I think that people would have enjoyed that, the whole idea of worker placement, and also would have enjoyed the fact that you have this resource management as well as also these victory points, etc., etc. Does the game hold up today? Yeah, I think it does. It still has the ability to keep players enthralled. I think where it kind of suffers a little bit is that it's a sort of game that once you've played it a couple of times, there's not really much extra to get out of it. It's quite stifled, which obviously explains why the expansions have become so popular. Apologies, I'm doing a review and also playthrough, but I thought I'm not going to do a playthrough, I'm just going to do a review for this. I did wonder about doing a playthrough of Catan, and if I'm honest, I think that it's not actually a sensible move on my part. More than anything, it's simply because the fact is there's a very good playthrough or instructional video which you can get the QR code from the back of the box if you wish, and I'm going to basically just show it to you now so you can see that. But effectively that is a great video which simply explains the game in a way that I think is sufficient enough that it works. I don't think me doing a walkthrough of the game will particularly benefit anybody, and I'd also say that anyone who has these facetious comments about people that do videos for reviews and not for without a walkthrough or playthrough, maybe you should probably play through yourself, because I think that my issue is that sometimes our role as reviewers is actually to explore the game, not to just parrot what other people have already done and done better. That said, Catan was released in 1995, and really I imagine that at that point it was seen as a really paramount and essential game that changed the mechanics of certain elements of gameplay. Worker placement, resource management mixed together was something that was new and refreshing, and also the game itself is quite multifaceted. However, has it stood up after what effectively is almost 30 years? The answer to that is very clearly yes, it has. It still attracts people in, it still gives back something, even though I think that it's diminishing returns, because the more you play the game, the less it actually is differing from a particular experience. I personally find that I found the game to be both a blessing and a curse, in the sense that it's a blessing for being so distinctly unique in its gameplay, but it's in the sense that if you hadn't have come across it before, you would have certainly found this completely revolutionary. But it's a curse because now, having played better games and games that have sort of ironed out the functions, you realise that the game is restricted. Once you've played it, I would say 4 times, you kind of have done with it. That's why I know the expansions have been very popular, but also why I think that the game itself has lost its edge to other and more better games, but it's also been an inspiration for them as well, so I think that has to be noted. Now, all this said and done, the thing I would say is that if you're new to gaming, and you're new to Euro games especially, a lovely term, then maybe this is worth it getting hold of, because I think that it will give you something to ease in new players to, and also ease in the experience of data management, resource management. I say data management because it's effectively, with Euro games, you are managing the data of input, output, resource management, worker placement, all of those together. When we reviewed Agricola, I said that I loved Agricola, but the problem is that if you're new to gaming, it'll be like literally trying to build the Sistine Chapel, and that's not the case with Catan. Catan is like building a house. So as long as you understand the basic functions of what the house looks like and will be, you can kind of get it together. Whereas Agricola was far more, you're building elements on elements on elements, and it became quite heavy. But the thing about Agricola was that was a separate experience. So experientially it was different from what Catan is, and I think more valuable in that respect. So that was Catan. Thank you for watching, and if you are looking for the expansion, I probably would recommend buying it with the game.